Welcome guys, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to see a role and permission based setup on role React application and with the PHP backend. So I have an example here I can show you. We have three roles: subscriber, author, and admin. So this test user is a subscriber, so he logs in, he sees that he's logged in as subscriber, he go to blog page, he sees the posts, but when it is about editing, he cannot edit because he does not have enough permissions. So you go back. If I log in as author, so I have test emails here, so I say author and log in. Here I'm checking the role, the logged in as author. Then go to post, you see the post. Edit page, you see the welcome to edit page, so that the author can edit. There is a difference, there is a permission check. Then if I go for admin, so when I go for admin, login, we get admin image and admin stats page. Again, logged in as admin. Admin goes to post page, he sees all the posts. When admin goes to edit page, he sees again edit as well. So this is how we are doing. We are checking the role here. We are showing the content based on permissions. Also, if I go to the network tab, I can show you that what data we are receiving. We are using the email, authenticating the user, taking the token. We have role, and we have permission array. So you can see here we have permission of delete, edit, and view. So this is for admin. Alright guys, to start with, first of all we need to set up the database. So I'm going to share this database queries with you. You can get it from the description. Also, this project that we are going to create permission based application, we will be continuing from a previous video. So this is the video. Yeah, you just go to this video description and from there you can get the zip. Also, I will add this download link in this video's description as well, so that you can download it from there. If you want to know how the primary and public and private keys work and how the token system work, it's better to check that video. In this video we will be mainly concentrating on the roles and permissions. Alright. So to start with, first of all, we have this table here, Zox. So the query is in the description. So what we have here, basically we have users table, we have roles table, refresh token from the previous video, and the permission. So these three tables we have mainly going to use in this one. So if I go to users table, you will see here we have three users. One is test@gmail.com email, and the other one author@gmail.com. The third one is admin@gmail.com. So the password stays same for each user, just to make things quick and easy to understand. Then we go to the role table. I'll open it in the new tab here. So we have here roles. The name is admin, author, and subscriber. Now each role has a user ID. So user ID 3, which is a user with the ID 3, is admin. So admin has the admin role. So the same way user ID 2 is author assigned the role. So if I go here, user ID 2 is author@gmail.com. The same way we have the subscriber, user ID is 1. So you can have like multiple users here. If you want to add more users, you will have here. So let's say it's a new subscriber, you will have a new subscriber entry with a new user ID, and you can later on work accordingly. The other table is permissions. The permissions is basically what we are doing. We are saying role ID. So role ID is mean here. So each role, if I open a new tab, so here admin is ID of 1 in role table. So when I go here, I say role ID. That means the ID in role table, which is this one. So it's 1. Okay. So when we go to permissions, here we are saying role ID 1, 1, 1. So this is admin. That's why admin is in delete, edit, and view. The second one is 2. So 2 is the author. So this is, if I click on it, then PHP my admin takes me there. So on the role table, you can see here, then it goes to admin by 1, and clicking on 2, because it's an author, author can view and edit both. So we have author here. So it gets to author. The subscriber only can view. So if I click here, we only see the view subscriber. Okay, so only the permission that subscriber gets is a view. All right, so this is the setup. For queries, you can refer to the description. Now let's get started with the React part and let's see how we need to use these. Alright, so from the previous video, if you go and download the file, you will get this zip. So I already extracted it, so I open the zip. So inside it there is a folder, there is PHP code and some Docker files. It is also mentioned in the previous video if you want to check how this Docker configuration worked. Otherwise, there is also React folder. So we need to use these both, and then we will be improving the code inside it. So first thing first, what I'm going to do, I need to open this in the VS Code. So I open the VS Code. In this project, you will get source folder, public folder. There is no node modules for now. So what we do, we gonna install that for make it work. So what I'm gonna do here, go to terminal, new window, and here inside this folder I say ls. So actually this file name is folder name is too long. Let me make it small. Alright, so now it is main, I'm calling it, this folder, and I'm gonna open it here again. Trust, yes, app. Now we have PHP and React inside. React, open terminal, hopefully finally. Now here it's clear a lot. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna say npm install. In case you want to use yarn, you can use -g yarn. Now to run the npm install, make sure you have Node installed on your computer. If not, you need to go to the nodejs.org, and from there you need to download and install it based on your operating system. Now what I'm going to do, in my case it is already installed, so I'm going to run the command. Now currently I installed the yarn, so you can use the npm install, or you can simply say yarn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say npm install just to make things easy. Okay, so we get an error. What do we need to do? We need to delete package.lock, and also then we need to retry it to install it. npm install. So I'm running npm cache clean to clear the cache, and then I'll try the npm install again. Now npm cache clean is done. I need to install it. So install -g npm. Right, so packages are installed. In case you face issue, try npm install for --force. So you can put like npm install and at the end --force, or try to reinstall Node. One more thing I wanted to show you, that we can also use yarn instead of npm. So if you remember, I installed npm install -g. I ran this command npm install. You can also run yarn as well. Now yarn does the same job like npm install. It's going to install all the packages. Instead of npm start, you just say yarn start. It is going to run the project the same way. So in case you face any issue with npm, you can try this too. I just ran yarn and it ran and it installed the packages as well. Now here yarn.log file is there. Now it gave me the success message. So what I can do, I can say yarn start, and it is going to do the same job and start the project for us. Currently there is already an application running on port 3000, so it is going to it is asking for a new port. I say yes, and it is up. So our application is up on port number 3001. Alright, so this is from the previous video. So what this does is basically this is for the token. So if I log in here, currently it is not going to do anything, because if I go to network and post, and then I go to response, and we have no response at all. So let's correct a few things and make it according to. So we worked with React. If I go back here, we also need to set up the PHP. So I go in PHP. Here we need to set up the container. Just keep this part. If you don't want to get into Docker, you can set up your PHP portion into XAMPP as well. So I'm going to run it on localhost, and this application runs up. So what I do, I'm opening a new terminal window here, and I say ls. Here we have app, cd app, and then ls. Then we have PHP there, cd PHP. There I'm just going to say docker compose hit enter. Alright, it is creating it, localhost up. So I say here docker ps, so it will tell us where exactly I need to look for. PHP application is port 99. Browser, here I'll look for, so there is our application. So here I'm seeing this error. That's totally fine because this is coming from the PHP. I'm gonna go inside the container to install the packages. So here I say, now if you're using XAMPP, you will be doing the same thing. You will be running the composer installed into the main directory. Here I'm doing it inside container because this is how Docker works. So you can ignore this part if you want to. Here I'm gonna say composer and install. Okay, so this is for the tokens and stuff previously application required. So I'm just installing just to make sure that everything works and we get what we are looking for. So once the application is up, we can edit it. Now this is complete. Now if you go to the browser, this error should go away. Now we have the connection refused. That's a different error, so that's all right. But that particular error is gone because it was looking for autoload file, which was not there. Now it is there. So if I go here inside PHP and www, you can see the vendor folder, and there is the autoload file. Now if I go to React application and hit login, now if I go to post, you will see it is giving us a different error. It is saying like the aux users doesn't exist. So it's telling us that there is no table name users. So if I go here, refresh, login, and Zax, it is empty. So I will import a SQL file. I will share this file with you too, so you can do that. So simply need to select this file and just open it. Now what happens, it is going to import, hit import. Now it imports it. You can see now we have users. There are 3 users already. Roles, there are 3 roles already. And I explained to you these roles and these tables already, like how these are working. So these are required. So now if I go here and refresh, the error should go away and we get here authenticated false, and we get here token. Authentication should be true. That is happening because there is a gmail.com. I'm passing test here. You can see gmail.com. So what I do here, I go to app inside React, and here in app.js is our code, all the logic, and here I'm passing the default. I'm just gonna say Gmail. Don't worry, we're gonna go through this code now. So in the last video, we used a static email check in PHP when we were working. So I go to PHP project, and there in index.php, there I'm checking if it is this email. So we need to pass here Gmail as well. So if I save this, now it should be fine, it should be working. So if I go here and back here, refresh and log in, now we get authenticated and token validated as well. So you see the previous video stuff is now working, so we can proceed from here. First thing first, I don't want to work with token in this video. So I go to what I do, I'm going to close the PHP code for now. We will work with the app.js file, okay? So the directory structure is this way. We have Node.js modules, public folder, and then source folder. All right, and everything is going to be inside source folder. So just concerned about that. Now inside source folder, we have 3 files, app index.js. If I open this, this is loading the app component. Index.css, which does have a bit of a tailwind CSS, but we will not be touching it. Then we have app.js. What inside app.js we have? Let's see. Inside app.js, basically, I'm making it a bit bigger here. Okay, so we have app component. We are setting one email. By default, I'm providing it a value. That is the reason in the browser you see that there is already email filled, right? So that's because of that. Then we have password, set password. This is another state. I'm by default passing 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see that 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Now, what I'm doing, I'm saying here authenticated. So this authenticated is when we check the user in backend, we set it to true and we can use it. Then we are also checking a token, and this token gets updated when we get the response from API call. So we have here Axios instance. This is our URL, so you know that we have our backend running or localhost 99. If you have XAMPP, your URL will be different from this. So in our case here, it says localhost 99. Then here is the authentication method. The first thing is checking if the user providing the email and password. Then if not providing one of them, it is going to give us an error. So if I go back here and remove this and hit login, it tells that both are required. So you get this from here, email and password both are required. Then we have the set authentication true by default here. We will be putting it inside the API call. Right now it is outside, so we'll correct that in this video. Now here it is passing this data, email and password, to this endpoint, which is the default index.php. So there we are getting the response. If the user is authenticated, we are saying, okay, user is authenticated. And from the response, we are getting a token in a state so that we can use it later on. Now here we have useEffect. So useEffect runs if it has a dependency array. If value of this dependency array variables changes, useEffect will run, or when the component is mounted, then at that time initial stage it will run. So here it is checking for token. It is validating token. So as I said in this video, we are not going to concentrate on token. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this portion, just the useEffect part, okay, so that it won't run, and we will be working mainly with this function. It's set authenticated. Now currently when we say we hit this, it simply says set authenticated successful. What I want to do, want to put this inside it. So we call URL, and there we authenticate the user. Once user is authenticated, we are going to set the authenticate true, otherwise not. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to be. So it should be that this way. In our app, we need to load few pages. So we need blog, edit page, blog list page, and home page, and not found page. So what I do, I create the components for them straight away because it's an easy job. We can do it quickly. So in the source directory, I create here components. All right, inside this component, I'm going to create a few components. The second one is going to be .jsx, home.jsx. So in case not found, JSX. This is going to be responsible. Here, React functional component, and we need to put the content inside. So, all right, so this is a package extension in VS Code that you need to install. So that is going to enable this ES7. So you need to install this one. If you have installed, when you type the React functional component. All right, so we have these components. For now, I'm going to close these. What else we need? So here we have the function. So what we want here is it's an authentication role-based system. So each of my child components should have access to the value that we get from backend. So what we want to do, we want to create a context. So let's create a context. So what we want to do here is I'm going to create another folder inside the source directory, and that is going to be context. Okay, and inside it we're going to call a file user context.js. All right, this is the file. So first of all, I'm going to import here the required create context, as well as I need use state. So these two are required. I'm going to make it bigger. So this is the user context. Then here what I want is I want to say constant, and this is going to be user context. Okay, and it is going to be equal to the one we are importing create context, just like this. We call it like a function, and now here we're gonna say export constant user provider. All right, so this is the provider which is going to wrap the application and going to pass all the data. So here we pass the children, so like this, and whatever is going to be wrapped by this going to be passed here and go inside here. So here, what I say, here I simply say return, and what we are going to return inside here, we say user context, okay, dot provider, and we will be passing the value. And what value we want to pass, we have a few already created. If I go back to app.js, so here we have the email like this, so I can copy this and go here and put inside here like this. So here we can pass the value, and that value can be the email. So to pass the value here, you need to put it like this. So now whatever we will be wrapping with the user provider will be able to access the email. All right, so here inside this, we need to put the children we are getting. So whatever, so you get the idea, user provider will wrap something that will come here and it will go here, so it will have the access to these. So here we're going to pass here children. All right, and that's how it works. So here at the bottom, I want to say export default, and what do you want to export is user context. Okay, so this should do the trick. We go to app.js, and here where we have the code here, we need to wrap it, and we can wrap it with user provider. So I simply say here user, and we get the option provider, and just wrap it up, everything inside it. So now this, everything inside becomes children, and everything inside it will get the access to email. All right, now what I want to do, I want to move all these things, all this function, the API call, to this user context, because that's the whole reason I created it for. So what we do here, we go back here, and here I'm just going to cut all these, all states to here. So paste here. Email we already have, so we can remove it. Okay, now let me make it a bit bigger here. Now what we want to do, we also need the function. So if I go back to the app.js, we have this authenticate user function. So we take it, we cut it from there, we take it and bring it here. So just above the return statement, you can put it like this. Okay, now let's see what we are missing. We are missing XUs, we are missing toast. Go back to app.js, and this XUs instance is used inside the token method, so we are going to comment this. I'm going to provide you this code so you can analyze what code and what things are where. Here we have XUs, so I'm going to cut it from here. In context, on top, I'm going to paste there. Toastify CSS is already there. We need to put the this as well. Now we might need toast container here because we have it inside content. We are using it here, so we need to leave that here. So what I do, I'm just gonna copy this instead of, so I remove this toast from here. Inside here we can put it like this. Okay, now what we are left with, use effect and use state, we are not using here. Take it inside your context, paste it there. So we already have it on top, so use state is there, use effect is not called here, so we can remove this statement. Okay. All right, so here what we are left with now, we have so many things missing. Set email, password, set password. So this we need to provide, right? So what we need to do, I'm gonna save it here, go to user context, save everything there. Now here, where we have this XCOs, and I'm gonna minimize it here, where we are passing the email, we need to pass all the values, email, password. So what I do is simply copy this email and set email. So we can, and we can break it down. So break it to the new line so that it's easy for easy to read. So here, email and set email, and then we need also password and set password. Then we need authenticated, set authenticated. Whatever we want to use in other components, in child components, we need to put there. So if I go to, I save these, now go to set email. Now to import these, what I say on top here, I say import, I call use. So here we need to go to context and select our context. Now this use user, we need to say, like in app here, so we say constant, and we are getting all the values from use user, like this. Now what values? So we go here, use constant, copy this, paste it all inside it, so we are receiving through that, and then we are using, now you can see that the errors are gone from here. Authenticate user is a function, we haven't passed it, so we need to pass it as well. So put it here, go back there, and put it here, so you can, this function it is calling for this authenticate user. So if I go to browser, let's see if we have error. We have one error. Now what I want to do, I want to move this code as well, because we should have components inside use provider, and this code we already created the components here. So there is a home.jsx. So what I want to do, I want to go to app.js, and here I'm going to cut all of this, and I'm going to put it inside in our home like this. So the procedure will be a bit different now. What are we going to do? The import that we are doing here, this constant and use user, it is not used here anymore. So we're gonna go here, and here we're gonna say in home component that okay, we are calling these values, and then on top this context we need to call inside there. Now if I call it here, obviously the path is changed now, so we need to check what is the path. So here it is one folder out, then it is context, and then context. Okay, now these values we are not using, so it is underlined. Rest all is good. So we still be having the error, so we have toast container, which is called here, so we can now move it, and here I'm gonna put it to the top like this. Okay, so that error should be gone. Now I save this file. In app.js we need to load the home, but we need to load it using our React router. So how we do that? Alright, and we need to install React router. So here is the React router DOM. Copy, go here, and now this is, we need to be in the React application here. I'm going to stop it inside React where we have all the files. You can see here Node.js, node modules. Here I put the command dash, actually just run it. This is done. We need to also say same command, just remove the DOM and then run it. Okay, both are done. Now what we need to do, we need to import. So if you go to here, to the website of React. So we go here in WT School, there's an example I want to show you. So we need to use the browser router like this. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply copy this code from here. This is exactly because we already installed it, so we can use it. So if I go back to the code, here inside the user provider, we pass it like this. Okay, currently it is showing this way, don't worry. Here we say quick, it is not going to import. So what do we do here? We go back to browser. Here we have this browser router. We need to import it, and we go back here on top. We import these. Okay, save it. Now we have quite a similar structure. So here we have home. So we will be importing this component. So let's say import, and then we want to import home from components, and then home. All right, and then this sorted, then it has blogs. We don't have anything. Actually, we have blog, so we can, instead of blogs, we call blog. And what I do, I simply say here blog, and then we have here they have contact. We don't have contact. We need edit page. Okay, or yeah. Then we have no page here. We say not found. So far so good. Now the only one thing is missing is layout. So the layout is the page where these all components going to be rendered. So we need to create it outside. So here outside the component and next to app.js, I create a file that's going to be layout. You're gonna call the same. If you want to call something else, you update it. Now here inside it, what we want to do, we want to set the pages. So first thing here, we say import, and I want to import two things. First is outlet, which is going to load the components, and then the link, which is going to basically change the components. So we say from React router DOM. Okay, now we are not using it, so we're getting the error. So I say constant layout, and then here we want to say inside it a return, and inside this return we want to make a navigation. I already have navigation prepared. I'm going to copy and paste here. Alright, so here it is. So basically we have navbar, then we are using Tailwind for styling. The main noticeable thing that you should care about is link. So these links are when we go to / that is home, and then there is blogs for blogs, and edit. These are the URLs. When you go to these pages in URL, you will see this. So if you want to say blog here or edit page, something else, you can change that. It's up to you. So that's how it works. And also, other than this, we need to put here outlet that we called on top. Alright, so this is our navigation. Now we need to export it because otherwise it won't work. Here we say export default layout. Okay, now we are exporting it. Now we can call it here. So import. Okay, so now we have it. Now we already have these in layout. We said if we go to blog, we are showing these links basically. So here we need to tell, like, okay, if we go to that page, which component will load. So here we say if we go to blog, and you load the blog component. If we go to by default layout, it should load home. Then edit, or we need to say if we go to edit, then load edit. Anything else, go to not found. So this is how it is going to be. Now if I go to our app, we have one error going on. Okay, so there is one issue. In our context, the export going to be a bit different, not like this. So what we're going to do, we're going to say export. We're going to export the function because we are calling use user, right? So we want to send this so that we can use it everywhere. And here inside it, we're going to say return use context, and then use user context because that's the context we are using. And now we need to call this use context. I don't think we have it, but if I go to here where we have create context, here we say use context as well. Now that error should go away. So now, yeah, it's gone. So now we go to here. Okay, we see here 3 pages. Now there is, if I click here, we get a blog, and you get the blog text, edit page, home, we get a blank. Then I go to blog. You can see that our page is blank. There's nothing, but when I go to home, there is this, because it is loading the home page. First thing first, I want these buttons here so that it's easy to see what we need to do. Go to home, there are these divs. We need to pick these up. And also, we are not using authenticated anywhere. So we need to set something here that tells that if user is authenticated only, then show the form, otherwise show something else. So what I do, I say authenticated, not cut. I'm just gonna copy this, and here I'm going to put it like this. If authenticated, if not authenticated actually, then we want to show the form. We don't want to show the form all the time. So we can cut this and put here. And now I realized we can't put in here because if user is authenticated, so we can use the ternary operator. So here we can say, otherwise we can show something else. So I have a block of code that I'm going to put here. It's nothing, just here, let me show you. It says welcome user, and it is going to on click set authenticated to null, so that technically going to log out the user. So now we need to cut this. Okay, so now if we go here, login, so yeah, welcome user, log out. Now let's put these here because I don't want them on top. So let's go back here. Here we need to minimize this like this. Okay, and then we need to cut these divs. We need to remove this. So what we need to do before that, we need to cut this and put inside like this. So because these two divs are causing all the width and all the things to be in this portion, so we need to do it. So we go to app.js here, and where we have our context on top of it, we can put it. Now we need to get the ending of these divs from here, cut, and I go to here and paste here. Now this div is closing automatically. We need to remove that, save it. Now if I go back here, okay, now you can see that home, blog, and edit. Brilliant. Now let's go to blog. So if we go to blog, we should see the posts. So here, I'm just going to show these some text basically. So I already have lorem ipsum code here, so I'm going to paste right there. And here, just like this. Okay, so it will look like this, much better. In edit, it says this, but we don't want that, at least something a bit better. Not like that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of a styling. I already have prepared it. So I'm just going to paste it here. Just leave it like that. Okay. All right. So blog and home. Home is login. Okay. All right. Now, first of all, when the user logs in, we need to get the permissions. So we go back here and close all the React here and just go inside the PHP www. We have index.php. You want to change the name to process.php. And when we call it, we will call the process.php. Now let's see this file, what is happening here. So in this file, we have the header set on top. Just gonna remove this one. We are saying that if call comes from here, allow it. And after that, we're just displaying the headers. Then there is the database configuration. So I have code prepared here, so I'm gonna put here and I'm gonna explain it to you how it works. I'm just gonna remove everything from try statement. So here you can see we have the empty try statement, and inside it I pasted code. Now let's see what is happening here. So we say that if it is a post request, okay, so when we are making a request and it is a post request, okay, then what we want to do, we want to say retrieve the data. We are retrieving the data, then we are decoding it. I also added the comments here so you can see that for your help. So once the data is decoded, it becomes an array. So I'm saying, okay, that are we getting the email? Because when user comes, user going to pass an email, right? So we will be having email and password. So we are saying here by default user ID is 0. Then we are saying, okay, get the email, get the password. This is the connection details. Then we are creating a connection. And this is happening once we have the email, okay? Then here we are saying, okay, I run this query. The query what does? It says select all from users where email and password. So it is going to check if the email as well as the password both are matching. It is going to get that user. Now here it says authenticated false, and here by default, like if it is false, but when we go inside the statement, we check here, we are saying authenticated true, as well as we are getting the user ID. Now what I'm doing here, I'm saying echo and then JSON encode. So we are passing this much data altogether back to front end. So we are saying user email is the user email. Authenticated, if it is true, if the user reaches this code, this successfully, that email and password matches, so we are passing this as a return. We are returning the token. So this is the functions.php file. I have the JSX files. Let me close these and let me open the functions.php here. So this functions.php has a function generate token. So if I just copy this and look for it here, so it is what it is doing. It is creating a JS token and it returns. So we are attaching that. Now we have two more functions. So here we are dealing with that. The first is role. So we are fetching the role from here. So get user, we are passing the user ID, and now if we go to our database, so if I show you here, refresh, login, so here we have the role. So you get the here, like we are passing user ID, we have the user ID here, so based on that we can fetch the role. Okay, so let's see this function, how this function is fetching the role. Okay, so this is user get user role. Let's go to this function, and I have it here. Nothing fancy, basic function here. So we have this $this connection. So we are creating a connection on top in the constructor. We have the $host and everything, then MySQL, and then we created a connection. You can print this and con to see if the connection is successful or not. In this case, it is working just fine. So we go to the function. Here I say select user email, role name. So in the roles table, if I go and see that there is a role name, okay, so we have admin, author, subscriber. So we are getting that. From users, we are left joining here because we want to get the user role for the particular user here. So and we are just checking the user ID if matches the role's user ID, okay? Because here in this table, it is user underscore ID, not the ID. And that on that base, we are doing the left join. So here we are getting the users.email, and here we are getting roles.name. So you get the idea, we're getting the details from users table, and here we're getting from roles table. That's why we needed a join. And we are saying where user ID is equal to the ID we are passing in the function. If you go to process.php, we are passing this ID, and then that ID we are using. Okay, now we are saying here that if we have the result, we have data, then we want to return the $name. So here $row name, so we are returning it. So that's going to return us the role. So like admin or author, that's all what it matters. So it's going to return that. Okay, so now let's see the last and the most important. The other one is permissions. First thing first, we are calling the get permissions function. Again, the same way we are passing the user ID. Okay, then we go to functions here. Here, let's search for this function. It's here. We get the user ID, then here is the query. So we say select all from, and we are saying group concatenate permissions. So we want permissions in an array, right? So when we do this, we get permissions in string. First permission, comma, second permission, comma, third permission. And we are saying give us those as permissions. So it gives us as permissions from users. Okay. Then we have the roles table as well as permissions table. We are left joining both of them, and then we are getting the data. So if I go here, so it will have all the data that we are selecting with the permission of that user with the comma separated format. And it is going to be only if the user ID is matching, because we are getting for a single user. Overall, if you see, we have a post request. When we get here the email, we check if the user is the one we are getting is in from the database, and we are passing return this data. So we should get token, role, permissions, authenticated true, and user email, the one email that user is logged in with. So let's see how we can work with this. So I close these two files, and we go simply straight into React. And here in context, user context. And if you remember, there is this function that we have, which is going to set the authentication. This is the one we are getting all the data from. It was previously going to index.php, so that's why it doesn't have anything after 99, but now it will go to process.php. So we will pass it like this. All right. Now we are passing email and password. So you remember we use the email to check as well as the password to check if the user is there in the database. Then what do we want to do? We want to authenticate the user. We want to set the token, and we want to set authenticated as true. Now I want to get all the data at once, so I create another state here. And what I want to call it, I want to call it constant. And it's going to be current, right? So we can pass this set current user, whole data, whatever is coming, so that we can get access to token, user email, user role, user permission, everything. So we simply pass the response data all together inside it. So this is going to be working. Now it is inside a user context. That means you can use this particular state everywhere in your child component, but you need to send it first to pass it here. And wherever you want to use it, just import it and use and authenticate users. Now let's start and see how it works. So we go here to our app. When we log in, I want to show the user role on top. So log in, we're getting welcome user. It's not just telling us what user is, what is the role. So what I do here is I go back, and we are passing current user. We go to home component. Inside a home component, what do we want to do? We want to check that if the value, the role is present. So what we want to do, based on this, you can set some kind of functionality. So here you can see your current user dot role, but we don't have current user here. Why? Because we need to import it from here. Okay, now we have access to current user. I save this, go back to browser, log in, and we get you logged in as subscriber. So we're getting it. Okay, great. Now let's go back here. What else? If the we can put here some how we can check it. So if I go to the browser and I go here into the network, so when I log in, process.php, you can see we are getting the email, authenticated true, token, role subscriber, and then permissions array, which is view. So what we can do here is we know that if the user is, let's say, permissions here, and if the user is admin, admin will have view, edit, and delete, all three. So what I can do, I can show something to admin here. So I want to put something. So I say here, current user, I copy this from here, dot permissions, dot includes, and if it includes, delete. That means it's admin. You can have a different value you want to put for admin only. That's only up to you. Now here is a snippet I created. I'm just gonna put it here because it includes styling, and I'm not going to put styling and waste time on that. So I'm just gonna paste that here. So I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, it just says welcome admin. It's showing an avatar, and that's it. So if I go back now, okay, so log out. So far, if I'm logging as a subscriber, I get this. All right, now if I refresh and log in as admin, so we get this box. This is that snippet I created. So not snippets, kind of a card, simply. Okay, so now what do you want to do? Now let's deal with the other pages. Now blog page, I'm not going to do anything. Only the one page I'm concerned about is edit page currently. And what we can do there, we need to show you don't have enough permission to subscriber on author, as well as admin will be able to work with this. So the same way, we want to import this. I copy this. So if we are not using these values, we don't need to import this. So you can remove that from there. So we go here, and on top here, we simply paste like this. Anything that you're not using, just remove it. So we are not using any of this. We just want to use current user, and this use we can call it like here. Okay, now current user we want to use, so let's use it. So here I use it like this. What I want to say current user dot permissions dot includes, and what it includes edit. That means it's author, and if it includes author, show something, otherwise show this. I'm gonna cut this h2 and I'm gonna put it in else. Okay, here, and if it is edit, we also want the same thing. I'm gonna do here again, put the same inside, but the message we need to change. Here I can say welcome back, welcome to edit page. You might want to have a form here that a user can edit or something, but you get the idea. We are restricting the user. So let's see. So if I go back here, set authenticated is not defined. This is on home. Okay, go to home, and here we need to import set authenticated. Okay, so now it should be fine. All right, refreshed, log in. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log in as a subscriber, go to edit page. It says you don't have enough permission. Blog, we have posts. Home, it says you logged in as a subscriber, nothing else. Now if I go as author, so author, then I log in, blog, there are posts, edit, you are welcome. So the user can edit. Now if I go to admin, we get our admin stats area. Oh, just to show the difference, we can see the posts and we can edit. There's edit page. As subscriber, I get currently this error, you do not have enough permission, but what if you just want to hide it? You don't want to show it. So what we do in that case, okay, so when we go here, I change the layout .js to JS6, okay, and then inside this file now we can use the context. So let's do that. So here I go to home, same way, we're gonna call the user user, gonna go here, import, path will change this time, so let's see where it is. It is context, and then user context, and it is import. All right, the same way we need to import inside it the constant. So here I say, and I'm just going to use the user, current user. So I just want that one. Okay, now just copy this, and then we can work with that. So here, what we say, we can say here, a current user dot role, right? If not equal, or let's say, yeah, if not equal to what? So the user role that we have in the database is subscriber, right? So if I go to role, so we want to hide it from the subscriber. So I'm just gonna say here subscriber. Then we want to work with this. So here and paste. Okay. If it is not subscriber, only then. Okay, let's go back here to our app. Now login. Subscriber, it's not showing. Log out. Okay. Now current user is null. So if the current user is there, we need to check that too. So here you can say if current user and let's see, let's go back and refresh. So yeah, it's fine now. This time what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say admin login. You get your edit page back, and if you log out and yeah, log in, you don't get that. Alright, you get the idea how you can place the role-based restrictions over the routes as well as the links.